Hey, good evening. Thanks for tuning in. I'm Gadi Schwartz coming to you from Los Angeles, and here are the stories we're watching tonight, starting with a manhunt for a murder suspect who knows how to survive in the wilderness.
We believe he has previously prepared to conceal himself in the woods.
At one point today, 3 separate searches were underway for murder suspects who all escaped custody. One of those men has been caught, but the other 2 are still out there. And tens of millions of people in New York and New England continue to be impacted by deadly flash floods.
Before I could get to the front door, the water was already rushing up onto the patio, and I knew I couldn't open the door.
And it looks like Aretha Franklin had 2 different handwritten wills, but which one is real? The Queen of Soul's final wishes go to court. And a tense day across the country as tonight we're following 2 dangerous manhunts for 2 different murder suspects happening at the same time. One in Pennsylvania, another one in Montana, with a third all-out search for yet another escaped murder suspect just coming to an end here in California. But let's start in Pennsylvania, where rape and murder suspect Michael Charles Burham escaped from Pennsylvania's Warren County Jail late Thursday using some bed sheets. And police say they think he has survivalist skills that would allow him to live off the grid, and are now warning people not to approach him if they see him.
Please do not approach him. Call 911 or the number that I will give you momentarily. Anyone with information is asked to contact Pennsylvania State Police Warren Station at 814-728-3600. There is no doubt in my mind we will capture him at some point. I can't obviously make a promise when that will be, but sooner rather than later.
Let's bring in NBC News correspondent Ron Allen. Ron, can you talk to us about how this escape played out?
Well, this is a small county jail. You can see behind me, it's only a few stories tall. The prisoners were in the recreational area, and apparently somehow he got up to the roof, used a bed sheet to make his way from the roof down the side of the building, and then out into the great unknown. We're up in a very mountainous, very rugged area of this area between the Pennsylvania and New York borders near a state forest. So a lot of woods, a lot of area for this guy to run into. He's from this area. He knows it well. He's something of a survivalist, police say, with some military training. So he's used to living out in the great outdoors, which could make it harder for him to find. Again, it's been 4 days now. Still no hard leads that we understand, but authorities remain confident that they're going to catch him.
And Ron, this isn't the first time he's been on the run, right?
No, there's he's in jail now because of a case that dates back to May, where he was involved in another situation where he abducted allegedly an elderly couple, their car, ran off with them because he was trying to elude police who were looking for him allegedly for another crime, an alleged murder and rape that had happened. This guy has a lot of things that police want to talk to him about. In that case with the elderly people, he fled to South Carolina. It took 13 days for authorities to catch up with him. They arrested him there, brought him back here, which is why he was here awaiting a hearing on those charges that were burglary and kidnapping, and that's why he was here in custody here when he escaped late Thursday night.
Are there any leads in this case right now?
Well, police have said that they found some campsites, small stockpiles of supplies out there somewhere. They won't give a lot of detail because they're concerned that he may be watching, listening, social media, however. But all of that, police say, leads them to think that he's probably getting some help from somewhere. Again, he's from this community. He knows the area. He's lived here in this community for some time. Those are the only leads that we know of. And again, they won't elaborate on them. I asked specifically, have you had any sightings of this individual, confirmed sightings? And they won't say, but they continue to insist that they are putting pressure on him, that they feel that they are close to him. In some ways, they may or they may not be, but that's what they're saying. There are aerial searches going on. There are dozens, if not hundreds, of officers on foot. Again, but it's a very rugged area, a very densely wooded area that we're in this part of the country. So it could take some time to track him down. And again, he's a survivalist, they say. He has military training, so he's used to being out there. And that's apparently going to make this that much tougher. Gadi?
Yeah, took 13 days to find him last time. Hopefully they do it much sooner. Ron Allen, thanks so much. And now here to California, where another escaped murder suspect, Eric Abril, has just been caught. It looks like he escaped from some sort of hospital in Roseville, California on Sunday. Now, this Ring camera footage showed him in his orange jail pants at around 3:30 in the morning on Sunday, heading north. He was arrested back in April after police say he took hostages at a California park and then was charged with murder and attempted murder at the time. Let's bring in NBC's Dana Griffith to help us break this down. Dana, so how did they catch him?
So after 33 hours on the run, he was actually found hiding behind some homes. It was a neighbor who tipped off authorities, and that happened around 12:20 this afternoon. So he was found in a city called Rockland, which is about 3 miles from the Roseville Sutter Medical Center. So not very far. Police add that he had numerous abrasions. You're seeing this photo here. He ditched the orange pants. He was only in his jail boxers and a belly chain, which is what they used to help restrain him. So he's been in jail since April, as you mentioned, for that deadly officer-involved shooting, which he shot 2 hostages and a CHP officer allegedly and killed one of the hostages. So it's obviously been very concerning for people who live in this area.
Do we know how he got out of that hospital?
That's the big question. The Placer County sheriff actually addressed that, and he was downgraded, surprisingly, from what they call a 2-deputy transport to a 1-deputy transport. So they're looking into what went wrong, how he escaped his restraints. We know that the office has received several questions about whether the deputy was asleep, and they have said our preliminary investigation says no, he was not asleep, the deputy. So how he escaped is still a big mystery. And
so he's been caught here in California. We just saw the one in Pennsylvania that's still ongoing. And then there's yet another manhunt in Montana. What do we know about that one?
So this one, his name is Chadwick Shane Mobley. He's 42 years old. He was being transported from Montana to Michigan to face charges for a 2011 murder, a 20-year-old woman that was found dead in a home there. He was being transported by a contractor for the U.S. Marshal Service. They say that that vehicle stopped at a gas station. He slipped his handcuffs and his ankle shackles. So obviously going to be another lengthy investigation into how this inmate was able to escape.
Yeah, and the other 2 is possible murder suspects.
Yeah.
Wild day.
Very, very scary for a lot of people.
Dana, thanks so much.
Thank you.
And turning now to the Northeast, where the threat of major flooding is going to continue overnight. Parts of upstate New York and a lot of New England have been getting drenched by downpours that have left rivers and creeks completely overwhelmed. Take a look.
I'm trying to get to my TAPS class, but I've run into a little bit of a roadblock.
And that last video, that's the Winooski River in Vermont. That river is forecasted to reach its second highest point ever by Tuesday morning. The Vermont state capital has not seen flooding like this in almost 100 years. And it's not just Vermont. Other places got more than a month's worth of rain in just hours, including Orange County, New York, where a woman was killed during the storm. George Solis is in Highland Falls with the latest there. Hey, George.
And Gadi, tonight, authorities identifying that one victim as Pamela Nugent of Fort Montgomery. A lot of residents heartbroken by the loss in this community. One thing residents also have noted, what you see behind me, this is ordinarily a babbling brook. It is roaring tonight, and it really gives you a sense of how much water moved through Highland Falls. Not just here, though, throughout the Northeast during this flash flooding event. And tonight, many people are literally picking up the pieces, some unable to go home because of the water that is now in their basements. A lot of businesses are shuttered. Governor Hochul was in town today saying right now the priority is assessing, making sure that the roads are safe, even if the water has receded. At this point, a number of disaster declarations have been declared. States of emergency are in effect, and we know FEMA federal funding will also be something that will be assessed for residents that want to start the rebuilding process as soon as possible. Above all else, this story is about people. And earlier today, I had a conversation with a woman named Kat who has lost everything. She told me that for her, it was heartbreaking to see this water rush into her apartment. She was able to be rescued by first responders, but she says she knows that a lot of her precious belongings are likely gone forever. Take a listen to part of our conversation.
Water was rushing, on one side from the stream and just rushing through the apartment complex on the other side. The thing that hit me this morning is that my dad's ashes are in a box under my desk, and I can't get those back.
And your heart just feels for her and anyone else that may have lost their belongings during this catastrophic flash flooding event. The storms seem to have moved out of the region. We know some of it will be impacting the Albany and Vermont area tonight, but a lot of people here are hoping they can catch a break. Governor Hochul describing this as a 1-in-1,000-year flooding event. A lot of people hope they won't see a similar event anytime soon. Gadi.
Thanks, George. And let's bring in Bill Cairns. Bill, for the Northeast, it looks like we're not in the clear at all there, are we?
Vermont's the concern. I mean, the rivers are still cresting. So the flash flooding is, for the most part, over with. That's what happens, it takes 2-3 hours. The water quickly goes up, and then the water's gone. Now all that water's heading into the river systems, and that's where the concerns are. And it's still a tropical air mass coming in here, but there's starting to be signs of some drier air coming in, and that's what we need. We need to get rid of this tropical air. Anytime you get tropical showers and thunderstorms and downpours over mountainous areas, it's huge problems, and that's what we've seen over the last 2 days. And some of the worst stuff that we saw today was in Vermont. It's just these small rivers that run, in between these mountains. All that water collects so quickly, and it just makes these just dramatic scenes. And, of course, all the little towns and villages are typically built near the rivers, too. So that just makes things even worse. So we'll see in the days ahead just how many bridges and roads have been washed out. So the remainder of this evening, the heaviest rains northern portions of Vermont and also through the Adirondacks. We only have one area under a flash flood warning still. Some of our flash flood watches are being dropped now, the southern half of New England, and by tomorrow morning we should be almost completely done with it. As far as additional rainfall goes, it looks like the highest amounts are mostly going to be in the Adirondacks and also in areas of Vermont, possibly another 2 to 3 inches of rain. Then the other stories. I mean, it's not just the flooding, the heat. About every 1 out of every 6 Americans is under a heat advisory or warning or watch, from South Florida to Texas, all the way now through California, up all the way to Sacramento. We are expecting just a blistering heat wave to continue well into next weekend. These are in effect through Sunday. So, I mean, we have some areas that are going to be in excessive heat warnings, like Phoenix, possibly for like 8 to 9, 10 days in a row. That's extremely rare. Wow. So even at this hour, still feels like 111 in Dallas. Of course, the dividing line is pretty much West Texas. Towards the West Coast, it's more of the dry heat. From Dallas east, it's more of the heat and the humidity. But the temperatures are really going to soar in the days ahead. Today peaked out about 110. Tomorrow, about 110 in Yuma. Vegas up to 107. And one of the numbers to keep in mind is Las Vegas's hottest temperature ever recorded is 117 degrees. We're not going to get there Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Friday, we get up to about 111. But the forecast over the weekend is right around 114 to 115. So only a couple degrees away from the hottest temperature ever recorded in the Las Vegas area. We also have isolated severe storms we're watching tonight in Nebraska and areas of Kansas. Mostly damaging wind and large hail should be about the worst of it. And then tomorrow, it looks like things should be improving. The only areas of concern will be a little bit here in Nebraska and also Iowa. But Gadi, anytime you get this super humid air mass, it was almost like a tropical storm or hurricane went through the Northeast. It was that humid. And when you get these downpours like that in mountainous areas, similar situations happen in the Appalachians, in North Georgia. And then, of course, you know what happens out in the West when you get any heavy rainfall in the mountains.
Tropical storms in the north and this unrelenting heat in the west. Wild. Bill Cairns, thanks so much.
Thanks.
And still ahead, the fight over Aretha Franklin's estate. The legendary singer died 5 years ago, but now her 4 sons are arguing over 2 different wills. We're going to explain next, so stay tuned. Hey there, welcome back. And here are some of the other headlines we're watching tonight. Police are still trying to establish a timeline on that mass shooting in Philadelphia last week that left 5 people dead. And investigators now think the first 5 people killed might have been shot about 44 hours before the others on July 2nd. Now, it's not clear if the victims and the suspect knew each other. And in LA's county's Rolling Hills estates, 12 homes have been evacuated due to a landslide. You can see the damage right there that the slide has already caused as houses were pulled off their foundations. Now, it's not clear what's causing that landslide, but excessive rain might be to blame. And longtime Tennessee state lawmaker Roy Herron died after an accident on a jet ski on a Kentucky lake. During his career, he was the chairperson of the state's Democratic Party. He was 69 years old. And women's soccer superstar Megan Rapinoe is retiring. She says the Women's World Cup this summer is going to be her last, but she's always going to have that Olympic gold medal and the Presidential Medal of Freedom. And after some confusion about the Northern Lights, we should set the record straight. You might have seen some headlines about the Northern Lights being visible across as many as 17 states this week. Unfortunately, we checked. It does not look like that's true. The University of Alaska says don't expect to see them down here, but you can always go to Iceland. And now to some sort of fight in a federal prison in Florida that left one of the most notorious sex offenders in the country stabbed in the lung. Larry Nassar, the former U.S. gymnast coach or doctor who was convicted of sexually abusing young gymnasts, was stabbed repeatedly by another inmate. And NBC's Stephanie Gosk has that story.
Hey there. So Larry Nassar has basically been out of the headlines ever since his sentencing. Now back with this news of his stabbing. Victims tell us that this is re-traumatizing for them. They don't find any satisfaction in the news that he's been injured. Former USA Gymnastics doctor and confessed child sex abuser Larry Nassar was stabbed nearly a dozen times, including twice in the neck, in this Florida federal prison. The president of the union representing prison employees telling NBC News Nassar has a collapsed lung and is in stable condition. The one-time head doctor for USA Gymnastics is serving what amounts to a life sentence for sexually abusing minors and possessing child pornography. Olympic gold medal winners, including the entire 2012 team, among the abused.
Violence wasn't what any of us were looking for.
Sarah Klein is an attorney for Nassar's victims and a victim herself.
We were perfectly satisfied with the lawful and painful sentence of life in prison that Nassar was given in a proper court of law.
In 2018, hundreds of victims told their stories in Michigan State Court.
He betrayed my trust, took advantage of my youth, and sexually abused me hundreds of times.
Nassar's crimes led to massive settlements with victims. USA Gymnastics and the U.S. Olympic Committee agreed to pay $380 million. And the FBI faces a more than $1 billion lawsuit after a DOJ report highlighted the agency's investigative failures.
The FBI made me feel like my abuse didn't count and it wasn't a big deal.
Olympic stars Ali Raisman and Simone Biles testified on Capitol Hill.
I don't want another young gymnast, Olympic athlete, or any individual to experience the horror that I and hundreds of others have endured.
Larry Nassar was being held in a high-security prison with 1,200 other male inmates in Florida. There are reports that when he was being held in an Arizona prison, according to his attorneys in court records, he was assaulted in that prison as well and moved out for his safety. Back to you.
Stephanie Gosk, thank you. And it's been 5 years since the Queen of Soul, Aretha Franklin, passed away. But today, her children were in court over her last wishes. Now, at first, a lot of people thought she didn't leave behind a will. But months after she was buried, 3 different wills were found. One was even found stuffed in her couch. Now, 4 of her sons are left wondering which handwritten note is going to hold up in court. And NBC's Mara Barrett has the latest.
It comes as a surprise, potentially, that someone like Aretha Franklin, with her worldwide popularity and estate potentially valued to be hundreds of millions of dollars, didn't have a formalized will. But this is all playing out in Michigan, and there's a lot of wiggle room about what can pass as a formalized will. Basically, state law there says that if you have a handwritten will, if it is signed and dated by the person that it's applying to, the person who's ultimately passing away, that it is in their handwriting and it's evident that it's supposed to serve as a will, you don't even need witnesses to sign it as well. It can pass. But in the case here with Aretha Franklin, there are two of those that exist. And so a jury was seated today as this plays out in court in public spotlight to decide whether the latest version, the one that was found in 2014, will pass as her final will. Now, a lot of it is very similar between the two. Basically, Aretha Franklin says that between her 4 sons, the royalty income that come from that, from her music and her copyright, will be divided among the sons. She also wants to make sure that her oldest son, who has special needs, is properly taken care of. But the point of contention comes down to property. Who gets her primary residence? Does one of her sons get it, or do they have to share it? In the more recent version of the will, only one of the sons gets it. And the thing that really stood out to me, the major difference, was over how and when 2 of the sons can get access. In the earlier version of the will, she stated that 2 of her sons needed to take a business class and also get a degree or a certificate before they could access the payout of the will. The later version doesn't say anything about that. So if you read between the lines here, it becomes a little more clear as to why these sons decided to bring it all the way to court. Now, this was just the first day of this court proceeding. We don't know how long it will go on, but ultimately the jury is set to decide whether or not that latest version of the handwritten will in 2014, when it was written apparently, will serve as Aretha Franklin's final will. Back to you.
NBC's Mara Barrett, thanks so much. And coming up, more bad behavior at concerts. Harry Styles is the latest musician to get something thrown at him while performing on stage. We're going to get to that in just a bit, but first, you got to see this. A star-studded lineup walked the hot pink carpet at this weekend's world premiere of the Barbie movie. A-listers posed for the cameras, dressed in their Barbie best. But without a doubt, the highlight of the event was our dear friend and advocate, Sophia Sanchez, who came dressed as Mattel's newest doll, representing those with Down syndrome. And we met Sophia back in April when Mattel released a doll in partnership with the National Down Syndrome Society, and she definitely wins Best Dressed in our eyes. We'll be right back. Hey there, welcome back. Let's get you caught up in 30 seconds. The search is still on for 2 escaped murder suspects, one in Pennsylvania, the other in Montana. Both men are considered to be armed and extremely dangerous. And deadly flash flooding in New York and New England has killed at least 7 people. Parts of New York have seen so much rain, officials are calling it a 1,000-year event. And Dr. Larry Nassar, who was convicted of sexually assaulting dozens of young women, was stabbed at a federal prison yesterday. He's now in stable condition at a nearby hospital. And cases of malaria are on the rise in Florida. State health officials there say they have confirmed 2 more cases, bringing the total number of people who have been infected in the U.S. up to 7. And NBC's Gadi Venegas is in Miami with that story.
2 new cases of malaria reported in Sarasota County in Florida. So that's a total of 7 cases in the U.S. this summer, 1 in Texas and 6 in Florida. Now, public health officials are prepared to deal with this in Florida. It is hot and humid, and mosquitoes are often in Florida, so they do have a system in place. In fact, as of last Friday, the county in Sarasota was using a plane to spray insecticides to kill some of these mosquitoes. And when you have to battle a disease like malaria, it's really the mosquitoes that the authorities have to control. We also understand from speaking to experts that the mosquitoes that can give malaria to human beings usually live 2 to 3 weeks, and they can only travel as far as a mile. So that's why these cases have been concentrated in that area in Sarasota County. And public health officials are recommending people to be aware, not to panic, but yes, to be aware. The symptoms of malaria are much like the flu. So if anyone has flu-like symptoms, especially a very high fever, then it's a good idea to go get checked at a clinic. Also, hospitals and clinics in the U.S. have what's necessary to check for malaria malaria. It's a blood test, we're told by health experts. And then, of course, we do have medication to treat it. There has been a public health advisory for the state of Florida for any individuals to be careful when they go outside, again, especially in that area. People can try to wear long sleeves from the shirts, wear pants. Of course, it's really hot, so often people are wearing shorts and T-shirts. For them, it is recommended to use repellent and also to get rid of standing water. Let's keep in mind that mosquitoes love to lay their eggs in standing water. These are just some tips for people under that health advisory here in Florida.
And now there's a new viral stunt trending on social media, and it's known as the boat jumping challenge. And yeah, it's basically what it sounds like. People jumping off speeding boats, but in some cases with some tragic endings. And a warning, some viewers might find some of these videos disturbing. Here's NBC's Keely Hartung with more.
Hey there. The danger of this challenge is all about the physics. It's Newton's first law. An object in motion stays in motion until something stops it. In this case, if you're hurling yourself off a boat moving at 30 miles an hour, that water is going to stop you like a slab of concrete. We want to warn you that some of the video you're about to see is disturbing.
A stunt intended to rack up views. It's known as the boat jumping challenge, and it has people on social media leaping off speeding boats into the water. But the flips for likes has led to tragic results. Over the last 6 months, officials in Alabama say the dangerous stunt has claimed at least 4 lives there, drownings that one rescuer says were easily avoidable.
The 4 that we responded to when they jumped off of the boat, they literally broke their neck and, basically an instant death.
Experts say if a boat is moving fast enough to create a wake, the water is not a safe landing pad.
Hitting the water in a moving boat is like hitting concrete from jumping multiple stories up. So it's really, really dangerous.
Gail Culp works to educate boaters and eliminate preventable recreational accidents on the water.
You can wind up with broken bones, a broken neck, or you could end up running into the propeller of your own boat, or another boat could run over you, and that would cause lots of damage, if not death.
The challenge is not new. We found videos of boat jumping on social media dating back to 2020. TikTok now posting warnings like this on some of its videos, noting participating in this activity could result in you or others getting hurt. NBC News reached out to TikTok about the boat jumping trend. They responded by saying it's not accurate to characterize or report this as a TikTok challenge, and that the company can't comment on something that isn't a trend on our platform. This is not the first social media challenge to cause harm or take lives. There's been the Skull Breaker challenge, where 3 people stand in a line and the 2 on the outside kick out the middle person's legs, causing them to fall back and crack their skull. In the Salt and Ice challenge, some TikTokers suffered 2nd and 3rd degree burns when they put salt and ice directly on their skin. And TikTok has banned the Benadryl challenge after at least 1 teenager died, taking multiple antihistamine tablets to induce hallucinations so they could post videos of their experience online. When it comes to these dangerous stunts, TikTok pointed us to its community guidelines that state in part, we do not allow showing or promoting dangerous activities and challenges, and advising, if you see a dangerous activity or challenge, pause for a moment to stop and think before you decide and act.
And while wearing a life jacket is always advisable on a boat, just like wearing a seatbelt in a car, our safety experts wanted to emphasize that wearing a life jacket when you jump off a speeding boat would not prevent serious injuries or death, would not prevent a broken neck or broken bones. The only way to be safe is just don't do it.
Tonight, someone's dream of buying a yacht or a mansion on the beach or both could become a reality, because right now the Powerball is sitting at $675 million right now. Combine that with the $480 million Mega Millions, and we are talking more than $1 billion up for grabs. But is there actually going to be a winner? The Powerball jackpot has been growing since April, and here now is NBC's Maggie Vespa. Maggie, this is the 9th largest Powerball jackpot in history, right? And I see you got a ticket there. You want to share the numbers with us?
Don't worry.
You're going to hold it close to your...
No, I don't. I don't want to share my numbers with you at all, actually. I actually have 2 tickets on this one, so I'm doubling my chances. Our team total, because by the end of today, we became psychotic about this. We bought close to a dozen tickets, so we're doing fine. We're not getting our hopes up at all. But yeah, this is, as you said, the 9th largest Powerball jackpot ever. We should note people have a choice if they want to start planning financially now. If they win, they could take the annuity option with 29 years worth of payments that increase by 5% per year. If you do it that way, you get the full $675 million before taxes, or if you want the lump sum, that would come in at $340 million, close to $341. Again, both of those before taxes. So, you know, just some things to think about, Gadi. If you're weighing like the mansion versus the private jet versus the private island, it's just good to start being pragmatic about it. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just thinking about like the taxes that you'd have to pay with that. I got to ask, what is the fiscally responsible thing to do if you did win? I mean, who do you call first? Who do you call second? And who do you definitely not call?
The experts say you definitely don't call. I mean, like, you know, sort of like your extended family and every friend that you've ever met telling them that you won the lottery. Basically, yeah, you don't want to post about it on social media. The first person you want to call is a financial planner, and they will tell you, they hope that you've signed the back of your ticket. They say that's key. And even they say, and I actually hadn't heard this, but take a selfie with the front of your ticket. I'm showing my numbers now. So that you'll be able to prove later on that that is indeed the ticket that you buy now. Use a freeze frame, why don't you? But that's indeed the ticket that you bought. So that's just kind of advice again. But they say the first person, definitely that financial planner, because you want to make sure you spend your earnings wisely when you're saving for, oh, I don't know, like an NFL team or something like that down the line. Just good to be smart.
Well, Maggie, it's good to know that you have one of those things out of the way there. You got their selfie with the ticket and your smiling face right here. So when you win, you always at least a steak dinner.
Yeah, check.
Maggie, thanks so much. And when we come back, powerful monsoons in India. Some of these storms are so strong, they're shutting down schools there. That is just ahead, so stay tuned. Hey there, thanks for sticking with us, and let's take a quick look around the world in 80 seconds. Deadly monsoon rains and flooding have hit India hard, including the capital of New Delhi, where some schools had to be shut down. Their heavy downpours have even triggered landslides, and at least 20 people were killed over the weekend. More heavy rain is expected over the next few days. And the sale, possession, and transport of fireworks has now been banned in France ahead of the country's Bastille Day celebration on July 14th. Now, the ban follows the violence and unrest that happened earlier this month after French police shot and killed an unarmed 17-year-old. Firework displays put on by local officials will still be allowed to happen, just not private ones. And 6 people were stabbed to death at a preschool in China today. That attack happened in the southern part of the country. Police have yet to release the names of the victims, but a 25-year-old local man was arrested. And so far, police have not said what his motive was. And finally, in the Netherlands, a trans woman, Ricky Valerie Collet, made history over the weekend by becoming Miss Netherlands, and now has a chance at becoming the first transgender Miss Universe, which is scheduled to take place in El Salvador later this year. Collet says she wants to be a role model for young women and queer people. And tonight, Turkey is making a stunning reversal, agreeing now to back Sweden in its bid to join NATO. Now, this comes on the eve of the NATO summit in Lithuania, where leaders of that membership group, including President Biden, will soon meet to discuss the war in Ukraine. Earlier today, Biden kicked off his European trip with a stop in London, sitting down with UK's Prime Minister and King Charles. And NBC's Peter Alexander is in Lithuania with more. Hey, Peter.
Gadi, good evening to you. President Biden tonight is applauding Turkey after that surprise announcement that it's going to drop its opposition to Sweden's bid to join NATO. This is a move that NATO's Secretary General tonight is calling a historic step. It really is a stunning reversal ahead of the NATO summit here that begins on Tuesday. Turkey's agreement that it will support in Sweden's bid to join this military alliance comes after years of opposition. President Erdogan making the decision after talks with NATO's Secretary General. President Biden also spoke with Erdogan. They've agreed that they will meet in person here tomorrow. For the president's part, he began the day in the United Kingdom with a royal welcome, enjoying his first visit with King Charles there, the two at Windsor Castle, appearing relaxed, laughing and joking and smiling together. The king seemingly unfazed as the president broke royal protocol, placing his hand on the king's back before the two leaders discussed climate initiatives, a personal passion for the king. And this followed President Biden's face-to-face with British Prime Minister Rishi Sunak, again ahead of the summit here in Lithuania. The president landing here tonight. It's just a few hundred miles away from the fighting in Ukraine. And with last month's rebellion exposing new cracks in Vladimir Putin's leadership, President Biden really is looking to fortify NATO. He has that new win with Sweden expected to join the alliance, but it comes even as he dismissed Ukraine's push to join NATO, raising concerns about how that would impact the joint defense agreement. The president said that Ukraine is not ready to join NATO just yet. And while Ukrainian forces are struggling to make gains in their counteroffensive, President Biden is also defending his decision to send those controversial cluster bombs to Ukraine. They are prohibited by more than 100 countries. He insists it is a temporary solution. We should note late tonight that a White House official is telling NBC News President Biden is expected to meet with President Zelensky here in Lithuania. It will be the third time the two leaders have met this year. Gadi, back to you.
Peter Alexander, thanks so much. Now, it wasn't that long ago when no one seemed to know where the man behind that short-lived Russian mutiny was, but today we are hearing he met with Putin himself and some of his top commanders. NBC's Keir Simmons has that story.
Hey there, Gadi. It is bizarre, hard to fathom. Choose your description. What we're being told tonight by the Kremlin is that 5 days after a mutiny that President Putin himself said could have caused a civil war in Russia, that he described as a stab in the back, he sat down with those same mutineers, 35 of them, for almost 3 hours, that he heard them out and that he offered them new roles on the Ukrainian front line. I think what's happening is the Kremlin is responding to Belarus last week, showing us tents, empty tents where Wagner fighters, these mutineers, were supposed to be in exile. And President Lukashenko of Belarus telling us that actually Yevgeny Prigozhin, the leader of this group, probably wouldn't come to Belarus and live in exile after all. I think this is the Kremlin trying to pull back the narrative and say President Putin is still in charge. He sat down with these guys. He had a conversation, but it leaves so many questions. Where is Yevgeny Prigozhin now? Where are those Wagner fighters? And for President Putin, the danger is that looking like he hasn't crushed this has an impact on him. Of course, the trouble with trying to crush it is that that itself could cause a backlash. So it does appear that the Kremlin continues to try to navigate a very difficult balance, and that the implications and ramifications of what happened on that day of mutiny are still playing out for President Putin.
So many unpredictable turns. Keir Simmons, thanks so much. Next, we're going to visit a London artist who makes some incredible images using just a typewriter. You got to see this, and NBC's Kelly Kobiea has more.
It's an unmistakable sound from the past. That tap-tap ding of a typewriter. For artist James Cook, it's the perfect palette and brush, using letters, numbers, and symbols to create intricate works of art.
Let's go.
His London studio stacked high with his tools of the trade.
Wow, look at all these typewriters.
Which he says allow him to draw in a completely different way.
The drawings work from two different perspectives. So when you stand back, you don't register it as being a drawing that's been typewritten. It's only when you get really close that you see all these individual marks on the page.
Cook first got the idea while researching a school project 9 years ago.
I was inspired by an American artist from sort of the 1920s. His name was Paul Smith.
Paul Smith typed out his first work of art when he was just 11 years old on a machine a neighbor had thrown away. Smith had severe cerebral palsy, making it hard to move and speak. The typewriter gave him a voice, creating hundreds of works of art with a handful of keys.
My jaw dropped when I saw his work. I thought, there's no way this is possible, that you can make drawings with typewriters. And I thought, well, this, you know, I've got to have a go at this.
Cook's first typewriter, bought for about $20 from an elderly couple he met at an antique store.
That was my first picture.
Wow.
So that's supposed to be a picture of the Woolworth building in Manhattan.
He's created more than 300 works of art since and collected nearly 50 typewriters, most of them donated. This one with keys in Hebrew from a professor who commissioned a portrait.
I don't want to make sure that I accidentally write anything rude because I had no idea what the letters mean.
The typewriters often telling their own stories. This face looks familiar.
Yeah. This machine has come out of Buckingham Palace.
donated by a former private secretary to the late Queen Elizabeth.
Her job was writing thousands upon thousands of letters to dignitaries, presidents, you name it. And apparently her office used to be literally one floor directly below the Queen's bedroom in Buckingham Palace. So it's quite cool to think that this machine has, for about 20 years, was below the Queen's bedroom.
His work ranging from standard letter size to long landscapes, all with hidden messages, like the words Mona Lisa in the famous lady's robes, American Gothic stamped across the American Gothic sky, and in this landscape,
this drawing is worth every penny.
Yeah.
James says he taught himself through practice and never uses whiteout.
It's got a charm to it if it's not quite precise, if it's not too perfect.
The smaller pictures take a week to complete. The landscapes, up to 2 months. James almost makes it look easy. But as I found out, oh, that's awful. There's a true art to this kind of typing. Ding. Cook's typewritten art now sells for hundreds of dollars. And among his most prized possessions, a portrait of the world's most famous typewriter collector, Tom Hanks, signed by the actor.
I mean, my jaw drops. I was like walking down the stairs and I see it sort of sitting at the bottom of the staircase, kind of like just come through the letterbox.
Cook's motto, a picture worth 1,000 words. In his world, thousands of characters make up one beautiful picture.
Wow. There is search and peck, and there is search and sketch, right? Okay, bad one. Before we go, it is time for the future of everything. And tonight we've got another very cool app for you. And this one helps people with disabilities navigate their community. Basically, it's like a Waze for people who need accessible directions. That's coming up next. But first, here's what we got for you tonight in some tech news. Comedian Sarah Silverman is suing Meta and OpenAI for copyright infringement. Silverman and 2 authors say the companies used copyrighted material to train chatbots, and the class action lawsuit was filed in San Francisco in a federal court on Friday. Meta and OpenAI have not responded to a request for comment. We're going to be right back. Hey, welcome back. In tonight's Future of Everything, we are talking about the very basic need to get around and how we can meet that need for everyone in America with some tech. Now, the CDC estimates that 1 in 7 U.S. adults have limited mobility. That includes people who use wheelchairs and scooters, as well as those who have trouble walking around and using stairs. So one entrepreneur in Boston took matters into his own hands, creating an app that makes communities more accessible for everyone. NBC's Zincle Esamoah has his story.
There's accessibility alerts.
For Jake Handel, getting around takes a lot of planning.
You plan your entire day and you plan where you're going down to the last little detail.
After Handel overcame a terminal progressive disease, he got the idea for Ahoy. Ahoy is a crowdsourcing app that helps people with varying disabilities navigate their neighborhoods.
It's the fear of the unknown that keep people not wanting to explore new places.
The app, currently piloting in Boston, allows users to input their specific needs. Then it shows them accessibility scores for locations in their area.
It's a great tool for me to, navigate the city.
Toby Thompson started using Ahoy a few months ago. He says the app's photos and reviews by people living with disabilities takes guessing out of the equation.
It shows you here all of the accessible information.
Take the entrance of this coffee shop. Thompson says if he didn't know better, the shop seems inaccessible.
It's a good thing that I have the app.
But reviews from the app reveal an accessible entrance through another store. Still, accessibility isn't the same for everyone.
There might be kind of a temporary ramp that doesn't really fit my particular need.
It's been nearly 33 years since the Americans with Disabilities Act was implemented. And in the U.S., only about 13% of municipalities and counties have readily available ADA plans, with an even smaller number of those plans meeting the minimum criteria for accessibility.
We need to be thinking that this isn't about code.
We're talking about civil and human rights.
Valerie Fletcher, the executive director for the Institute for Human-Centered Design, says inclusive design is all in the details.
We see an accessible toilet room that will have a flush over here. If you actually need to transfer from a chair to a toilet, it's really awkward to reach across the toilet to flush it.
But until the day accessible design is universal, Handel hopes his app can make a difference.
I would encourage anyone out there to upload a photo or write what a place has anywhere. And by doing that, you're helping people into your community.
Zinclea Samoa, NBC News.
What an incredible idea, and something that a lot of people just don't think about. In fact, watching that, it makes you think that if you're a single parent, that is something that you're going to want if you're pushing that stroller. Great idea for an app. That does it for us tonight. I'm Gadi Schwartz. We're going to see you tomorrow, but until then, stay tuned now.
Thanks for watching our YouTube channel. Follow today's top stories and breaking news by downloading the NBC News app.